All right. Well, hey, Stacey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, thank you so much for being on This is 50, Freedom Through Passion. I'm really excited. This is actually, to be honest, our second time trying to record because I have
Yeah.
such terrible internet down here in Mexico. So thank you for coming on again. I want to kind of just get right into your story because you have a great story. You and I met on actually Instagram, believe it or
Yes.
not. We started following each other and actually we became sort of Instagram friends. And it's been wonderful getting to know you better through Instagram. Watching your stories, it's super awesome. You are the epitome of a woman that is a hustler, that gets out there and
Mm.
is really trying to stand up this freedom through her side hustle. And I'm going to get all into that. And we're going to talk a lot about that. So, first of all, tell the audience who you are, where you live, what you do today, and a little bit about, maybe some of your history on some of your business ventures.
Sure. My name is Stacey Penacidi. I'm 51. I'll be 52 in April, which I still can't really wrap my head around. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I look at my children and then that's the only time I'm like, wow, I really am a grown up now.
Mm-hmm.
I live in New Jersey. I live in the house that I grew up in because I care for my aging mother who needs some extra help. So I sold my house a year and a half ago, and I only lived like a mile from her anyway, but it was just here every single day and moved my family in. So that's been an interesting experience having all different generations under one roof.
Yeah, no kidding.
And living in the house that I've lived in almost my entire life. All my neighbors from like my mother's house down the street are all original neighbors too, who've known me since I'm a year old.
Wow.
Yes, it's an unusual place to live because most blocks don't have everybody that was original for 50 years.
No.
Yeah, we have our own little aging community here.
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest, so at 52, I'm 52 almost, I'm the youngest on this block,
So
which
now
is
you have
interesting.
two boys, right?
I have
And
two
and
boys.
and both are off to college or
Both are done with college. So my oldest Tyler's 25 and he works for Maersk, the shipping company and logistics.
Mhm.
And he works from home, which is great. So he's a big help to me with my mom if I'm not around. And my younger son just graduated from Rowan in December. And he's actually editing a podcast for a professional baseball player. So he's very
Oh,
excited. Yeah, it's really
very
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So one is back living with you, or are they both living back with you?
One
Hmm.
is moving back home in May he's living by school still to finish off some internships there, and then he'll be back home. So we will be a total full house in May. And I was
Okay.
an empty nester, when COVID hit, I was an empty nester. So I've gone
Yeah.
completely backwards in time.
All right. Well, and that's exactly what I want to talk about. So, so you are currently working right now during the day for a marketing company. I'll let you go into a little bit more explanation there. But you also have a side hustle, and that is that is exactly what you talk about on your Instagram, which is makeup. And you've had this love for makeup since you were little. And the whole moving back in with your mother, and it's such a great story. So tell us a little bit about your day job
Okay.
and then the side hustle that you're standing up, which I think you're doing an amazing job
Oh,
so
thank
far. Yeah.
you. Thank you. So my day job, I sell promotional products. So anything with a logo on it for corporate companies or corporate programs, events, conferences, that kind of stuff. And I do love that. I just love working for me better. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started doing the side hustle, which is Saint Makeup. It's a cream foundation. I was totally inspired by my mom when I moved in here because she would come down every day with her makeup on, and I was still in that COVID mindset, having no makeup, sweatpants, every
Yeah.
single
Like
day.
all
And
of
I'm
us.
like, she's getting dressed, she's doing her makeup every day, and I am miserable, fat, and ugly. And
No.
I was like, I'm going to get back into makeup. And I went back to Sephora and Ulta looking for, foundation again. And I just felt like my skin had changed. I don't know if it was menopause or aging but I was not happy with anything. And then I saw someone on Instagram doing Saint Makeup, which was like all those dots, blending it. And they were all much younger than me. So I thought, everything looks good on these gorgeous young girls. And then I saw someone my age and she looked gorgeous. So I ordered it. the minute I tried it, I'm like, this is for me. I'm a makeup junkie. I just love all the colors. I love walking into even a stationery store. I love markers and crayons and lipsticks. I mean, that's like the creative part of me. And so as soon as I tried Saint, I'm like, I'm going to sell this. This is going to be one day my main hustle, and my work will be my side hustle, because I just really just want to get back to the freedom of doing something just for me and my own business and not working for other people anymore. So,
Exactly. And so
yeah.
tell me the model of Saint. So it's, you
It's
do
a
you have it?
multi-level marketing company.
Yeah.
What I love about it is that there is no inventory that you have to hold. There's no minimum of what you have to sell. So you could go on and I guess you could just buy it for yourself. There is a back office fee, so I don't know if that would pay unless you're using a lot of makeup. But it felt like a very minimal risk for me. And I really 100% love the product and believe in it and think it's really fantastic makeup. And then, you can get people on your team under you. I have like a whole upline of people. I have sideline sisters. I just met up with a whole bunch of girls from New Jersey who are not on my team at all. We just all live in the same state and we're able to get together. So it's a really nice community on top of just being a business. It's a community of all like-minded women hustlers, which I love.
Yeah. And that's actually, so you bring up some really great points there, because when I think about women who are in their 50s, 60s, and they're sort of looking to like, you know what, it's time to actually start fulfilling purpose and what I'm passionate. And we know that purpose is really what you're passionate about and doing all the things that you are really, really love to do. And somewhere along the line that, goes into other people, and you help and you impact other people's lives. So for you, you had this love for makeup, always
Mm.
have, and you ended up finding an opportunity in Saint to be able to start a business without all of that startup cost, right?
Yes.
So like you said, you're not having to carry an inventory, you don't have to create products, and you probably end up getting a lot of marketing support and ideas on how to market yourself. But then you also mentioned the community. And that's one thing that I definitely know that most women in their 50s, and I think everybody, but I think, this podcast is about women in, 50 and over, and how to find a community, not just in your physical life, but
Mhm.
even in your online life. You and I have never met, but we end up talking maybe at least once or twice a week
Yeah.
just through Instagram. So this sense of community. So break that down a little bit. So you started Saint, you thought, okay, I found this makeup. I tried it out myself. And then how did you start to research into the company as an opportunity to actually create a side hustle?
You know what? I don't know if it's so much researched anything as much as just, on Instagram, TikTok, finding other people. Once you become an artist, then they link you to all these different artist groups for whatever images you need for social media or training. So there's just so many avenues of meeting people. They have also they have an incentive trip that, if you do a certain amount, so you can meet those people in person. They also have I guess it's a training trip that's coming up in April, which unfortunately I'm not going to. It's just the timing's not right. But so they kind of put you in touch with all these different pieces of that community. Plus my upline has her Facebook group. And so the more you speak to people, the more you post, the more you talk, you just start communicating. And I feel like people who are doing a multi-level marketing, it's just a different kind of hustle than my friends from home. I mean, I love my friends from home. I love to go out to dinner with them and lunch, but they don't want to talk business. They don't want to talk ideas on
Yeah.
how do you get people to interact on social media? How do you get, comments and likes and shares, and then grow your business. And I love that this community is women that I could talk to about those things, that are interested in that stuff, because I feel like some women
Exactly.
just want to retire and get their nails done, and yes, I do want that one day. But I want right now, I like the excitement of building a business. I do love that whole planning your marketing, planning your budget for everything. How are you going to put yourself out there? How are you going to sell this? What do your clients want to know? What can you teach them? What can you share? And what will get people involved? And it's a different mindset than just a regular I think just a regular person. So I
Yeah.
love that my community all feels the way I do. Like when I got together with these girls, we sat and talked, okay, if we met once a month together, what can we do together that would be beneficial for all of us? What can we all learn from each other? And honestly, being from all different uplines in Saint Makeup, we're all learning really different strategies. And so it's so nice to even be able to talk about those strategies together and have someone who's interested in learning something. You know,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Keep
so
going.
because I love learning. I do. I feel like I hated school when I was in school, and I did not graduate college. I dropped out. But now I love to learn anything. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, what are you doing? How do you do that? I want to know everything. I want to know all the things. I want to be able to, um, I guess, grow with the times. It's like, social media is a whole different way of selling than
Absolutely.
the way I have worked my entire life selling. So it's
Exactly.
really interesting crossing over from like in-person selling things to online selling things. And because I work from home, I don't really see people. So my only method of selling my makeup really is online. I'm not a realtor. I don't work in a salon. I'm not a teacher. I don't see and interact with anybody
Yeah.
except for my family.
So so let's take a step back. So when you looked at Saint, you realized this is makeup for you. You understood that it was an MLM, multi-level
Yeah.
marketing organization. There's a stigma associated with multi-level marketing. Did you ever come across that in your mind?
I did feel that stigma, because there's so many people in my area selling different things, a lot of diet programs and that kind of stuff. But I
Hmm.
also saw some of these women making a lot of money selling this stuff. And honestly, I feel like every single influencer is basically a multi-level marketer. They're selling something for somebody. They may not be their business, their product. Maybe they're promoting things for a million different brands, but they're doing the same thing. So I do think that stigma is starting to go away, and I think the wave of the future is going to be multi-level marketing. Everybody is going to be selling something
Yeah,
online.
and I've had people on before on the show who are in other fields of what you would call multi-level marketing, and I think they're calling it social retail.
Oh, I haven't heard
That
that yet. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that kind of sort of takes away the stigma. But regardless, I do see it as an opportunity if you're looking to start a side hustle and you really want to try to find something that you're passionate about, but you don't want all of that startup costs and the product development and the marketing starting from scratch. It
Yeah,
is definitely a great
yeah.
opportunity. And you don't have to answer this next question, but I'm hoping you will. What type of level of income? Because you said I see a lot of these Saint women making a lot of money. I want you to say two things. One is, what do you mean by your upstream? Is that what you called it? The upstream?
Upline. So,
Upline,
okay.
upline. And then also, what type of revenue can you actually make as a part-time person? Like how much time commitment does it take to get into something like this to actually make a decent level of income that you could actually then quit your 9 to 5?
Yeah, my upline is the woman I signed up under.
Okay.
So she is, I guess I kind of consider her my mentor, not so much my upline because
Hmm.
she's kind of teaching me the business. She's been in Saint for I think 4 years. And when I joined, she showed me her back office, and I hope she doesn't kill me for this, but she was making well over six figures selling
Wow.
makeup. It changed her life.
Hmm.
And she also got into it right before COVID. So I feel like COVID really helped that whole online business for people. I'm kind of at the end part of that.
Hmm.
So I'm not going into it with the mindset of this is going to happen tomorrow. I feel like, but I do have the mindset that it will happen. It's just like anything else in life, you have to put the time and the effort in. Nothing happens overnight. So, I mean, whatever extra you're making, like if you're making an extra $300 a month, that's, how much more a year? What does that help you pay for? I mean, for me, I like to get my nails done. I like to get Botox. I spend a ton on hair products. I like
Yeah.
to get a blowout. All those extra things that I don't have to feel guilty about spending on right now, to me, makes it worth whatever time I'm investing. But big picture, I want to be where she is and be making six figures and give up my main job or keep my main job as a side hustle. I kind of look at it as like, all right, I have a 4-year plan. If she could do this in 4 years, then I can do this in 4 years. And that's not a lot of time. But I think a lot of people don't have that mindset. They want the instant gratification.
Right.
I want it now. And nothing in life is going to be like that. There's no magic pill to make that happen unless you win the lottery, you know. So I signed up for this marketing program that I think it was like, I don't know if it was maybe $1,000 to do, like just to learn online marketing. And for me, well, that'd be a big investment for me with Saint because I'm only not even a year in. But they had like a monthly payment on it. And on Saint pays you on like a Saint credit card. So you can take the money out of that card if you want. So I just put that marketing program on that card. It's like $97 a month for 10 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm going to invest in myself and invest in the time to learn. And, you can't expect something out of it if you put nothing into it.
Hmm.
So I feel like I'm putting in the time, I'm putting in the effort, I'm trying to learn everything I can so that I can grow to the point. But I also have know that it's not going to be overnight and I'm willing to continue to put the time in and because I know the results will come. You just,
Hmm.
I think a lot of people think you put yourself on social media, next thing you know, brands are paying you, people are sending you
Right.
free stuff. And I do 100% know you can make a living doing that. I just think it's just not an overnight process. So you have to be,
Totally agree.
yeah.
Let's back up a little bit again with the course. So, and I think this is what does hold a lot of people back is the fact that they may think that they don't have the skills.
Yes.
So, there's when you look at something and you're analyzing, like even through my Encore Life Academy program, we go through, we do a skills mapping, we identify all the skills, and I get I don't have any skills, Lynette. And I think to myself, are you kidding me? There's so many skills, especially in our 50s, as we, have gained all of this knowledge. And it's really helpful to sort of go through that exercise but yet have people help you identify the gaps. So you realize, makeup was always your thing. You knew that online was going to be the platform for you, but you had no idea how to even record a reel, but you were doing these lives when I first met you. And I thought, holy cow, this is wonderful. This woman has so much confidence to put herself out there. So I want you to talk a little bit about finding that confidence to put yourself out there. Cause there's days you're not wearing any makeup. You're doing your makeup. Sometimes you're crying. Like there's vulnerability behind your
Yeah.
lives as well, which is wonderful. And then what made you realize, like what skill, like the skills that you need, and are there other skills that you need to collect along the way, but that never really held you back?
Well, that's a lot of questions. Let me think. So
Sorry.
it's okay. So it's hard to do. It is hard to put myself out there without makeup. And it's funny. I have no problem getting on with no makeup and doing my makeup, but I don't like to do like a story with no makeup. I feel like I look better with makeup. It just makes a big difference. So I feel like it's good that you could see what I really look like and then the transformation. So when I'm doing it, I'm trying really hard to put myself out there more during stories when I don't have makeup because just because I sell makeup doesn't mean I have makeup on all the time either. So there are days I don't want
Right.
to put on my makeup still, or it's a weekend and it's 2 o'clock and I haven't put my makeup on. And now I'm not sharing anything, so I feel like I have to share with my makeup off. It is hard, and I also have felt like I will not use a filter at all because I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do the makeup justice if you can't see what it really
Agreed.
looks like without a filter. So it's like a constant battle internally of will I put myself out there without makeup? In terms of vulnerability, I always feel like I get the best response when I'm my truest self and I don't hold
Mm-hmm.
back. And it's very hard to do that. I always feel like I am afraid to say certain things because of certain people that watch my stories that are family members maybe and don't want to hear certain things, or I don't want to hurt anybody by saying certain things. But when I do say the truth and be my 100% authentic self, I get the best feedback and the best response. So I do try to really not hold back. And for the most part in my real life, I am a what you see, what you get. I'd say exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
It's probably why a lot of my family doesn't like me, because if there's an issue, I say it right off the bat. I will just flat out, address the problem. So I think that's also just part of who I am naturally. And even as a child, like I would put on shows in my house. If we went someplace and there was a wait, I would take the stand at the restaurant and get behind it like that was my podium and talk to the whole
Oh, that's so
restaurant. I mean,
fun.
so somewhere that's just in me. And then I had a business, a scrapbooking business back in the early 2000s, and I had to do a lot of um, I did a lot of scrapbook teaching. So I traveled all over the world teaching how to scrapbook. I did Home Shopping Network. I did some PBS shows. So I have always just kind of been putting myself out there in one way or another. And um, yeah, so I just
Yeah,
feel like,
no, yeah, no, it's amazing. And then now in terms of the skills,
yes,
so how what how did you know that's because you have like you have your mentor you said in the
yes.
same business, but were they telling you like get out there, take some marketing courses, or did you just sort of know that that was going to be something that you're going to need to?
Well, she was sending like newsletters and other things that I was like, how do I do this? What happens if someone signs up under me? What am I supposed to send them? What if I have an artist? How do I train them? And I just realized like in the 50s, we were at the end of that computer age starting. So my knowledge of computers is okay, but it's not like my kids. And I knew I just needed to improve the skills in that area and also to just make things easier. Everything was a struggle. If I wanted to do something in Instagram and it needed a cover and I needed to go to Canva, I don't know how to use Canva. I don't know how to use this. So every single step was 5 more steps of learning something, which was
Right.
very frustrating and time consuming. And so I was just searching for how do I learn this? How do I simplify this? Who can help me do this faster? And also, where can I outsource things that I just can't do? So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I knew I needed
I
help.
love all of that, and that, that those struggles, those like, oh, those challenging times are when most people will give up.
Yeah.
So, good for you for, keeping going and, finding these courses because there's like there's got to be somebody said something like it's a $1 billion business, these online courses and stuff like that, and I
It
know I'm
is.
guilty too of buying a lot of courses.
Yeah.
And just to get to kind of where we're at today. So you talked a little bit about your scrapbooking company, and I know that that was a business that was quite successful for you, but then sort of came to a bit of a troubled moment. So I want to talk a bit about that because I think for us in our 50s, 60s, whatever, we can tend to think of our past experiences and they can be roadblocks for moving forward. So talk a little bit about your scrapbooking business and how you sort of, sometimes does that ever come into your mind a little bit about holding you back? Does it ever hold you back?
Um, it did hold me back for a while because it was a tremendous success out of nowhere. I was just scrapbooking for my kids and I loved it. As I said, I love markers and pens and crayons. So it just fed into that creative part of me. And I have always been a tremendous picture taker, still am. My phone is filled with beyond a million pictures of my family. So it was just something that I just loved. And at the time when I started that, it was like just on a fluke. I started a company with like matching buttons to match scrapbook papers because my dad was in the button business doing buttons dyed to match clothing. And I thought, why can't we do buttons dyed to match paper? And it just took off and exploded and then came crashing down with the housing market and scrapbook stores closing. And it was so devastating to me to fail that for a really long time, I didn't want to try anything that would be my own business because I didn't want the responsibility of having to support other people. I had people who worked for me that I had to let go. My whole business closed. My whole life totally fell apart from that. And I was young and, took it as a personal failure, devastated about it. But with all the years that have gone by, I have the perspective of time to look back and say, what an experience. I traveled the world. I got to go to all these places, meet all these people. And so what? I failed. If I didn't try, I would have never had anything.
Right.
So you have to still put yourself back out there And I think a lot of the mistakes were out of my control. And a lot of the mistakes were just young and not knowing like how to get rid of inventory, how to sell off goods when things get old. And you only learn that from experience. What I love about Saint is I don't have any of that. I don't have to worry about the inventory. I don't have to worry about, the cost of goods and bringing things in and even find sourcing production, sourcing products. I mean, I was doing all of that with that company, and it was a lot, again, which also fed into my love of learning because I went to China. I learned how to source things. I learned so many different things, but I don't want all that responsibility anymore. So,
Hmm.
but it has taken me a good 15 years, honestly, to put myself back out from the pain of that experience. Because it failed like an explosion,
Right.
so it's hard to take that chance and put yourself back out there and have people say what they want to say. The best part of being in your 50s is I don't care what people say anymore. Just not my
Exactly. Oh
problem.
my God, that's
Not my
so true.
problem. Yes. So,
I know.
I'm going to do me. And if you don't like it, bye bye.
Yeah, you
I
can
don't care.
always unfollow me or,
Yeah.
exactly. You don't
In
have to be
fact,
part of my
I
world.
like when people unfollow me now. I'm like, oh, good. You're not who I want to be with. You're not,
That's right.
if you're not interested in what I'm doing, move on. There's a million other people. And I want the people who like what I like, are interested in what I'm interested in. And I just don't care what people think anymore. That's really the best part of aging. You realize it's not important. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I want to talk a little bit about, just the Saint makeup and giving some sort of makeup tips. So
Okay.
I do know that on your reels and people can go to your social media and we'll give your social media in the show notes of the podcast. But you talk about doing this sort of the makeup facelifts and stuff like that, which is super cool. So if you were to, meet a client for the first time, let's say me, okay? So you and I have talked about trying to
Yes.
get the Saint makeup down to Mexico. And so what would you say to me? Like, what would be the three products that you would, highly recommend that I look at? What kind of tips would you use for me? That kind of stuff.
Well, I would first ask you what you're currently using and if you're happy with it.
Hmm.
Because if you are happy with it, then don't change your makeup
Hmm.
because you have to find a reason to want to do something different. So, but what I love about cream is that it is very moisturizing. And I feel like as we age, all that liquid foundation, the powders, that just kind of sits in your fine lines and wrinkles where cream kind of just presses into your skin. So it's moves with your skin. It's hydrating. It just has a different feel. So I think aging, and you'll see every beauty line now is putting out cream everything. So even if
Right.
it's not Saint, I think definitely try some kind of cream makeup.
So tell me, okay, so I thought that liquid and cream would be similar in style. Okay, this is interesting.
It's not because liquid just kind of dries down to and it kind of sits on top of your skin instead of
Hmm.
kind of moving with your skin. And but there are like BB creams and other things that people love. So it really depends on how your skin feels and how you feel in that makeup. If like for me, I felt like everything I put on, my pores looked so much bigger. My wrinkles under my eyes looked so much wrinklier. I just could not find anything that was making me happy anymore. And also with Saint, you have to use so little makeup. It's just like, and less makeup means less sitting in those fine lines, less sitting in your wrinkles. Where I feel like liquid, I was, putting on just so much makeup. Everything was in layers and layers and layers.
And it starts
Um,
to feel really thick on your face. So what happens? So with the cream though, the first thing I think about cream, and maybe this is like years ago, I was thinking about the cream eyeshadows and how you put them on and then, not even an hour later, you've got this crease in your eye that is like from this cream makeup. So is, is that not a problem with the cream or?
I don't personally find it a problem with the cream. You do have to set cream makeup, even if you're using cream eyeshadow. Like most of Saint's eyeshadows are powder. They do have some
Oh,
creams,
okay.
which I love, but most of them are powders. But I definitely like if I do a cream eyeshadow, I set it with a setting powder, and on my
Yeah.
face, I set it with a setting spray because again, for me, Well, I have dry skin, and I feel like setting powder on my face just kind of settles into my lines and wrinkles again.
Yeah.
So I use a setting spray because cream makeup will literally move all day. So that's why if you're seeing like a crease on your eyeshadow, you have to set it with a some sort of powder, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
Um,
cream foundation then, what does that mean? So I do watch you on your lives and you're using a brush and you're dabbing and stuff. So how does that work?
so they all come in little tins. I'll show you. So they all
Yeah.
this is my palette. This is what I
It
real.
was
It's a
just
little dirty.
amazing, right? So like
Yes.
all of your
I
makeup is in this palette.
Everything is in here. And when
Wow.
I would travel, I would literally bring a 10-pound bag of makeup. My poor husband would be schlepping this bag of makeup, which I wouldn't even let it go under the plane because God forbid my luggage gets lost. Then what happens?
Hmm.
So he would be in a backpack on his
Yeah.
backpack, 10 pounds of makeup. Now it's all just like one palette. So I have like these are all my cream
Yeah.
foundations and contour and some lip and cheek colors. These are some of my eyeshadows. So everything's in one.
Wow, amazing.
They come in these little tins, so it's you only replace what you use, and then I just use like a little brush and I just tap it in and you just tap it on. So that tapping rather than swiping is what is just like pressing it into your skin, and you just don't need a lot. That's what's like, and it just has a glow about it. It's just a
Yeah.
beautiful finish. And the other thing that I 100% recommend to people is contour. Like those Kardashians knew what they're doing.
Yeah.
It, Contour just changes your whole face. It's unbelievable. I don't know why we were not doing this our whole lives, but I love the cream contour. And you'll find all these makeup companies are coming out with them as well. But it like instantly changes and gives you, I don't know if you can see how
Yeah.
that like
See.
just gives you a little cheekbone just by adding that shadow. And
Wow.
why did we not do that before?
Yeah.
Like as you age, everything kind of goes down, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at that, I'm lifted again. And then I'll use like the this is just like a lighter color concealer, and you can do just a little line under your contour. And again, that's like an instant facelift, and you could just blend this in. Where can you get a facelift without it costing you money and having
Yeah, exactly.
surgery? But
Exactly.
makeup can do all those things because it's all just a trick of the eye.
Yeah.
It's playing with light and shadows, which again goes back to like my love of art and drawing and
Yeah.
markers and photography, playing with light and shadows, and just you can see the difference on this side, just doing a little bit of highlight here and a little contour compared to this side.
So if we do figure out how to get it down to Mexico, then what? I get a lesson or, I mean, I would not even know how to even begin. I mean, I've used powder for my entire life.
So when people sign up or purchase from me, I usually send out an welcome email with a video of how to put it on from start to finish. And then
Oh,
I'm
great.
always available. You'll see me on Instagram all the time. You could private message me. I'm happy to jump on a FaceTime with you and go over how to do it.
Right.
And I try to tell people, just don't be afraid. It's just makeup. You really can't mess it up. You could blend this out to nothing. Like I tend to overblend my contour because I'm like, oh, is that too much? So if you feel like it's too much, you just keep blending. It's not permanent. So once you get that fear gone that I can't really mess this up, um, you just have fun with it. And I have friends who use it and they're like, Stacy, I just take my brush and I go like this and just spread it all over my face. I don't know what I'm doing, but it looks good. I'm like, exactly. You can't go wrong with it.
That's amazing.
It just always does look good. It's people when they try it out are always like, wow, I'm in shock. I think the hardest part of it is though that people want to touch it and feel it in person. And that's
Hmm.
hard to do. That's what I'm still trying to learn. How do I get that touch feel part of it conveyed online? Because um, I mean they have a return policy. So I feel like that should take away that fear. But I think that's like the big thing that holds people back from really trying it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree. But I think watching you, I have gotten more confidence in like, okay, well, what happens if I do get it? And then I give it a try. But I think I think just watching you gives me more confidence.
Yeah.
So I want to just say that you are so passionate about this. You're glowing, I think, because of the makeup, but I think mostly because you're just so happy and you just love everything about what you're doing for your side hustle. I just know within your 4-year time frame, you're going to be doing this full time. And the one thing I think about when we try to start a side hustle that we're passionate about, it does take time. Like you said, it's like it's the blood, sweat, tears. You've got to
Yep.
commit to it. But what about when you have a family that, maybe doesn't support you or, requires a lot of your time? I know you've talked to me quite a little bit about, I just have no time for myself. Like
No.
I swear to God, my Pilates is the only freaking time.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like you're not the only one. I mean, I have a bit of the luxury, I guess. I don't have a spouse and my kids are gone. So it's me. So I have the time, to commit to my work. And I don't have to worry about other people. But I think for you, how do you get your family to support you? Like we're recording this podcast on a Sunday morning when, you probably should be still snuggled in bed or going for a walk or going for coffee with somebody. How do you manage that? And I think this is an important question because I think it holds a lot of a lot of women back from going after what they want because their spouse says, no, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be on the golf course or we're supposed to be, traveling and vacationing. So
Then you need to get a new spouse.
yeah.
That's what I think.
Well,
You
trust
need
me,
a new
a
spouse.
lot of them probably are thinking that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I have struggled with time management. I have my mother that I take care of. My kids can't make a decision without consulting me. I don't know
Hmm.
why. I'm hoping they get better at that. And I have a very busy life, but I feel like since I've turned 50, I have made it a point to make a lot more time for me. Even Pilates is something I started doing in the last year and a half, and it is not cheap. And I had in my normal pre 50 life, I would have probably been like, I don't want to spend this money on myself. I can't give
Hmm.
myself this time. My kids need me in the morning. My kids have activities or a tutor or something that they would always come first. And I just kind of felt like if I would do this for my kids, why would I not do this for myself? Don't I deserve that time, that attention, and whatever that cost is, just as much as they do? Happy mom, happy family. And I really just kind of flipped my attitude around about it that Pilates, that money, that time makes me feel better, then it's better for everybody here. And in terms of like my side hustle, I really try to spend some time on Sundays. That's like my main work day. I try to tape my content um, because nobody really needs me on a Sunday. And I'm really fortunate that I have a husband that's 100% supportive of me. And if he wasn't, I would seriously get a new husband. I would never tolerate that. I'm not even joking. I would never tolerate that. When I started my scrapbooking business, my husband was working at my dad's business, and I had said to him, "Do you mind if I'm going to see if I can sell some buttons to some paper companies?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, how many buttons do you think these people will actually use? You do whatever
Hmm.
you want." And I had gotten a bigger a button order than they had ever gotten in the garment industry from
Wow.
me doing that. And he never questioned me ever again after that.
That's good for you.
So he's just 100% supportive. He's like, I know you. If you love this makeup and this is what you want to do, you'll find a way to make it work. And I'm supportive of you. My mother's my biggest fan and biggest customer. She thinks I'm like the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Awesome.
So, all of that really helps. And if they didn't do that for me, I would do it for myself. I would
Right.
not let them stop me, and I would do what I want to do. You have one life. And when you're already in your 50, I feel like I'm looking at the back nine. I don't want to have anything get in my way of what is going to fulfill me at this point and what I'm willing to live with and tolerate for the rest of my life, because I just want that rest of my life to be happy and
I
enjoyable.
love that. I love that. And I think, you're looking at the back nine. That is such a great analogy. And I think I've had other guests, we talked about it. It's like, I want to leave a legacy or an example for my kids that are, is more than just, retirement. I don't think I'm going to ever retire, to be honest. I really enjoy my work. I think my work is going to pivot, but it's the same thing as you. And I think what we've done for so long is put our dreams on the back burner because we
Yes.
had to raise kids. And you said something that really resonated. And I think 100% of women, we will spend our money on our kids, no problem. And
Hmm.
even still to this day, if my kids needed, money or whatever, I'm there for them.
Right.
But, to drop even like for me, I've said this before, 10, 15, 20, $30,000 a year on hockey for my son or
Hmm.
university. My daughter went to an Ivy League university. That was not cheap. I will
Yeah.
tell you that. And, she graduated with very little student loan debt, like maybe under $10,000. And the thing is like, do you think, thinking about spending $10,000 on me was just completely like, are you kidding me? I had
Right.
to really think about it. Is this really what I want to do? But actually, for the first time, I did do that. And I bought myself a coach this year. So I'm super happy about that, a business coach. But yeah, like it's crazy how
We're
we
afraid to
don't.
invest in ourselves. Or we have guilt of
Yeah.
investing in ourselves.
Guilt.
We
I
have
think it's
guilt.
guilt.
It's guilt. We have no guilt of investing in our children, but we should not have guilt for investing in ourselves either. We're worth it. Who's saying that I can't learn or can't grow or be a better person or bring something new to this world because I'm 51? I'm worth the same investment my children are. And it took me a long, long time to feel that way because, as you know, you take the food off your plate for your children always. So,
Always.
yeah,
Wow,
I think,
that's awesome. I love that. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I think every woman in their 50s needs to learn that. Like, this is our time. You need to invest in whatever it is that's going to bring you happiness because who knows how much you have left? I want to be
And take
happy
the
for
risk
whatever.
to
Yes,
invest in it and take the
yes,
time to figure out what is it that you could do now that you should have some extra time because your kids don't need you
yeah,
anymore.
right.
And, sure, you've still got a spouse or maybe you don't. But yeah. And one other thing too that I wanted to mention was, my kids are super proud of all the work that I've been doing in terms of like taking the risks of, going and traveling and, working remote and I'm having a really great time doing that. One thing I've realized through this whole journey is that it's always been me that's had to adjust to that,
Mm,
not them. They're on, like, I can barely get my son to text message me now, you know, and sometimes I think what we think as mothers, and we've been these mothers for, 20, 30 years, that our kids are going to need to adjust to me going out and going after my life. But in fact, they don't need to adjust at all.
yeah.
They're on their life already. It's us that still holds on to them and wants to have that same relationship with them. And yeah, it's a little
I,
aha moment for me.
and I think that, I mean, I've had my son tell me, Mom, that's so cringy. Like I did a reel that was like, I'm the rubber band, you're the cash, I don't know, whatever it was. And they were like, that is so cringy. And I'm like, sorry. I mean, this is what
Oh
I'm
my God.
doing. But on the same token, like my son is editing a podcast. And so he's building his social media accounts. And we talk about that all the time. And he's teaching me things and I'm teaching him things that he doesn't know either. So it's
Amazing.
opened like a whole new conversation and a level of respect too. And I think my kids really respect that. I have a really good business head and they can come to me on those work conversations or questions. I mean, we talk about, I don't know, so many different things now because I feel like I have a more interesting life now.
Yeah.
So we can relate on a whole different level than just being a mom. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that either. If you want to just be a mom, I'm all for that too.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
I
But
don't want
just
to put
know
judgment
that
on.
being a mom later when your kids have moved out is not the same. It's not the
Yeah,
same. They're not
yeah,
cuddling you like they used to.
yeah,
They're not hanging out with you. They're not texting you back right away. I mean, unless they need money or something, it's hard to get a response.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stacey, it was wonderful having you on the show today. I admire your story, I admire your energy, and I wish you all the luck in
Oh,
your
thank you.
adventures. And give everybody your Instagram
Yes,
profile?
it's S. Penacidi. Good luck with that.
S. Panacidi.
S. Penacidi. It's my husband told me it's Pan Ass and then Edie. So Panassidi. That's how I learned to spell my last name. It's so funny, but yeah. So I think on Instagram it's S. Penacidi, and on TikTok, which I'm still trying to really get into TikTok. It's not my big thing, but my son tells me that's where you have to be. So
Right.
is Stacy Penacidi on TikTok.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm again. Thank you for coming on a Sunday
Oh,
to
so much
record
fun.
the session. Thank you so much, and I'm going to continue to watch you and just follow your growth.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here. I had so much fun.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.